would talk to you now, I don't care what they're doing. It just doesn't bother me one bit. And that's their choice. And they're free to do that as long as they can get away with it. And they're free to pay the consequences, whatever they are for doing it. But it just doesn't interest me in the least. Is it unfair? Yes, it's unfair. But I just want to make it clear that I don't believe that treating 30% of our chapters in an unfair manner is a appropriate response to being treated unfairly. So that's just the way I feel about it. Let them play football. I enjoy watching it. But it's just not going to play into my decision. I don't feel like I have anything to prove by doing our contests just because they're playing football and basketball and wrestling. I want to let you know that I'm going to take full responsibility for what we're going to be doing in the North region this year. I did not ask every area teacher to give me what they would like to do on their events and give us all a choice, and it just so happened that all of them wanted to do virtual. I don't want you to feel like you can call any of them and try to talk them into this event or that event. It's all on me. And so if you're unhappy, I understand that. I'm unhappy. So we can be unhappy together. But my hope is that I'm around and you're around next year so that you can be unhappy with me for a long time. So the next thing becomes, where do we go from here and how are things going to work? Well, I am going to tell you this. There are two events that I'm going to tell you are going to be a hybrid mixture of a live and a virtual event. I think any one of y'all could probably look out there and say, how are you going to do virtual tractor driving and virtual lawnmower driving? And the answer is we're not. There's no way. So we are faced with those two events, and our decision then becomes, we don't think we can conduct them virtually. It's not an option. So the question is, not do them at all. Well, obviously, if we don't do them at all, we deny 100% of you and your kids from participating in that event. And if we do it live, we do know that we'll deny 30% of you the opportunity to participate in that event. So our decision on those two events is going to be that the lesser of two evils is to not let 30% of you participate, but let the 70% of you that can come to tractor driving if you want to. It's an outside event, and it's an individual event, which is going to involve 20 people. We feel like that is an event that can be done incredibly safely. And our only other option is to not do it. And so for that reason, we're going to do the test and problem solving on tractor driving and lawnmower driving through the QBank virtual platform. And then we will set appointments to come and drive, where you will come and drive and you will get back in your vehicle and leave. And there won't be anybody else around when you get there, and there won't be anybody else around when you leave. So those two events are going to be the only two events that we are planning right now to do in a live setting. And it will only be because they're outside events, they're individual events, and the only other option is to not do it at all. We are going to be updating our calendar tomorrow. We've already updated our calendar, but we didn't do anything on our website because we didn't want anybody to see it and start asking questions before we were ready. But tomorrow, the calendar will look different. We're going to change some events around. You saw where Mr. Lastly sent out the letter that said that we know we're moving all the state events from January and February. So we have moved some of our region events around to reflect that. That will be updated tomorrow, just so y'all don't have to scroll through the calendar a day at a time and try to figure out what's been changed. We're going to put everything that we changed on a Word document and email that to you tomorrow. We're going to send you that, and we're going to tell you everything on it that's not like it was when we put it out in July, so that you don't have to go hunt and hope you got all the changes and don't get tripped up because you missed that change and showed up on some day when there was no event. So we're going to take care of the calendar. We're going to send out a new copy of the CDE protocols, just like we did back in September. We took every event and we went through it and put it on a document and explained exactly how that event was going to occur in a virtual format. We're going to do that again for every event that's going to be held second semester. That won't come tomorrow. That will come before you leave for Christmas. You got my word, but it's going to take us several days to work with QBank. And I can tell you this, every area teacher is beating the bushes to find the best virtual opportunity to give your kids a quality experience. I want this protocol to be complete when we send it to you. And I want our area teachers time to hunt far and wide to come back and say, wow, I just found something that we can do for this virtual event. It's pretty awesome. And I don't want them to have to go back and change what we sent to you earlier. So I want to find the best opportunity we've got to create the best CDE we can. And then we're going to put that all on a protocol and send it to you. And it's going to lay out event by event exactly how that will happen. All right. We are also going to be adding additional accountability to the proctoring component of the virtual CDs. First semester, you know that the majority of the events that we did first semester were all LDEs, and we judged them on Zoom. And so we were the ones proctoring your kids. We were watching them. We saw them. You did not need to have a proctor for an event that was being conducted over Zoom because we're already judging them. That's the whole CDE already. But on a QBank exam, you've been required to find a proctor to watch those kids take that exam. Now, we're going to, but there weren't that many of them first semester. So we just didn't want to load the apple cart too heavy, hoping that we're not going to do this but 3 or 4 times. So, you know, let's just get by, and second semester will be all live. Well, as it's turned out, second semester, we're not going to be all live. So if we're going to get to the end of the whole school year, we're going to be doing a lot of virtual exams on QBank. We want to maintain the utmost integrity for those events. We want everybody that wins that event not to be questioned. We want everything to be held to a high standard. And I really do appreciate so many of you that have called in and asked, can I do this? I just want to make sure I'm doing the right thing. You know, can I have my proctor? I've got one kid that got sent home to quarantine today, and he's going to do the exam from home. 3 more are going to be in my classroom. Can I have the same proctor the kid from home on a Zoom call while they do my 3 live in the classroom? And the answer to that is absolutely you can. But I certainly appreciate getting asked those types of questions, because it tells me that y'all are concerned about your own integrity and the integrity of the participation that your kids are, you know, enjoying, and you want to maintain a high standard. And I appreciate that. Well, since we're going to be doing a lot of these second semester, we are going to add a little additional accountability to the proctoring guidelines. And what we're going to do, and this will be in the second semester protocols that will be sent out, but we're going to have a Google Doc, just like some of you older ladies and gentlemen might remember that we used to register for FFA events through Google Docs. And you'd go to a link and it'd ask you to fill in your name and your school and all your kids' names and all this stuff. Well, now we're going to have a Google Doc that gets sent out for every CDE. And on that Google Doc, you're going to fill out that form that's going to give your name and your school, and it's going to give your proctor's name, excuse me, and their contact information. And we are going to verify your proctor on the top 2 teams that advance to the state every time. And then we're going to just reserve the right to be like drug testing at the fair, to randomly draw out 2 or 3 other names to verify your proctor as well. we want to make sure that everybody maintains that level of integrity that we hope we've maintained so far. And I don't think that's a big step to ask, but I think it would make us all feel better to know that we're all being held to a high standard of security and integrity. So at the end of the day, we can say that there was 1 year in the grant history of FFA that we did every event one time virtually. I don't think that's a lot to ask to try to maintain everybody's health and safety and your kids, and maybe not contribute to your school being sent back to all virtual if you're being able to hang on by the skin of your teeth and your kids go to school in person. I just want to be seen as doing everything I can do to help that. I want to be seen as doing everything I can do to make sure every one of your kids can participate. And I think we can do that without asking those that would be allowed to travel to sacrifice that much. So that's where we're at. I hope everybody, I hope you're not all right with it, because we're not going to do it again next year. But I hope you're okay with it given the circumstances and understand how that decision was derived. And I hope you can support me and the area teachers in what we do. If you're incredibly unhappy about it, I'm always willing to talk to you. I can't say that we're going to change, but I can sure commiserate with you, and we can talk about how we hope this never happens again. But that being said, if you've got any questions, I don't really think I can open up this meeting to 190 of you, 170 of you to just start asking questions. But I would like to invite you, if you've got something that you think I left out, because this has all been real fast, folks. And I mean, I was sitting down at lunch today trying to hash out what I felt like I needed to cover. If you were hoping that I was going to say something else that I didn't say, please type it in the chat box right quick, and we'll take a minute to, we'll take a minute to answer a few questions if y'all have got them. If nobody has anything that needs to be addressed by the whole group, then what I'll say is I appreciate your patience. I know a lot of you have been wanting to know this question that got answered tonight, have been wanting to know it for a long time, and I'm sorry we made you wait this long. But I hope you'll support. I got one question, something about what do I mean by verify? By verify means if you're going to enter your proctor's name and their contact information, and we're going to call them, and we're just going to get them to give us the thumbs up that, yep, we sat there and watched all 4 of those kids take that exam. None of them used any outside resources. They didn't talk to each other while they did it, and then they'll vouch for you. And I just feel like that's a fairly easy step for us. But I think it could probably make all of y'all rest easier at night, just knowing that we're going to try to maintain the safety and the security and the integrity that y'all expect. Yes, I do. I'll go ahead and address that. State events, I wish I could say we do not know. That's the next thing on the docket. It was one of those things, some of these meetings lasted so long, and y'all know this, but you've probably been in some of your own school meetings. These are hard meetings. People have a lot of strong feelings about this, and so we finally got to the state CD part, and we just all agreed that, hey, what if we just kicked the can down the road a little bit and said we're not going to do any in January, February, and give us time to try to get over this hump and then go back and talk about the state events. But the state events will be the next thing on the priority list, and that is to get them ironclad of when they'll be conducted and how they'll be conducted, and that's the next thing on the docket. So so I can't share anything with you today about the state events, but I can, other than to say that will be to you just as quick as we can all sit down and hammer it out. We do have a state staff meeting next Tuesday, and if we haven't figured it out before then, I expect we'll spend a lot of time hammering it out then. Anything else, Josh, or any of the area teachers see anything on the chat that we can answer? Yes, the who can be a proctor rules won't change. If you've got a multi-teacher program and you had nothing to do with training your teachers, your teaching partner's team, you're welcome to proctor them. If you've got a kid on that team, or if you help train the junior of that team, you cannot proctor them. But if you had nothing to do with it, you can proctor that other teacher's team. What are Central and South region doing? They're having their meetings as well. I think Central region, I'm sure you can call down there and talk to some buddies down there at what they're doing. I'm not going to answer that because I can honestly say I really don't know. We were given the okay. I don't know if y'all get up every morning. Y'all probably tells you more about me than y'all need to know, but I don't know if you get up every morning and look at the state COVID map, but I do. And right now, it's just like the whole country. There are areas that are worse than others. And right now, North region is it. Y'all are in the hot spot. When this whole thing started out, it was down along the Florida line. That's where y'all all remember it started out down there in Albany at a funeral. And that end of the state was dark red all summer. And if you follow that big red blob is now settled over North Georgia and especially Northeast Georgia, with the exception of Murray and Whitfield County. I got no idea what y'all are doing up there. But that's where we're at. And so given that, we were given the okay to do what we felt like was best for our region. And so I don't know what their ultimate decision is. I know what their decision was last week, but I don't know if they have come to any other decision since then. But I can't tell you for sure, so I'd rather not even try to guess. I understand the whole hands-on thing, Chris. And like I said, I'm asking them to do it one time. If that's too much to ask, then tell them to call me and I'll apologize to them personally. But, you know, I just don't think it's too much to ask.
Stan, there was one question about safety protocols for the live CDs that you discussed, temperature checks and things like that.
We will have some pretty, I guess we'll follow the CDC guidelines. I mean, obviously, you know, if it's on a tractor, we'll have to, you know, we would be wearing masks. We would be asking your driver to wear gloves. You know, we would ask, you know, draw a circle around ourselves and ask that nobody get in it. I mean, you know, we do whatever we got to do to make the event a safe event, and we'd follow whatever guidelines are available at the time. Our biggest plus there is that those are outdoor events, and it's very few people. And with very few people in an outdoor event, and the only other option is don't do it, then I think that becomes our best decision. And so, Chris, I don't think your hands-on practices have been pointless. You know, I would never say practicing's pointless. I mean, we practiced for some of the contests we did for 4 years before we ever got in a position to win them. So I'm sure your practicing will pay off at some point. I'd encourage you to keep it up. All right. I'm not seeing a lot more in the chat. Like I said, you know, I know this isn't what we all wanted. and all I can do is promise you that it's not what we're all going to have in the long run. I'm going to ask you to do it once. I'm going to ask you to ask your kids to do it once. And I hope that's not too much to ask, so that we can all participate. So if we're good, then I want to wish y'all a happy and safe holiday season. This is recording. We'll put this entire video on our website tomorrow. So, if you have more questions, when can we expect updates on the other CDs? Like I said, as you will get a full protocol of every event before y'all leave for Christmas. Okay, we'll have all that sent out. It'll look just like the one we sent out back in July looked. It'll have a step-by-step how every CDE is going to be conducted. And there'll be parts of it that we may have to do differently. We may have to assess that skill a little differently, but we're going to find the best way to assess it in a virtual format, and that's what we're going to go with. So that will be given to you before y'all go home for Christmas. I promise you that. Well, I hope we can all look back on this at some point, and all you young teachers can be telling all the old, young teachers 25 years from now what y'all went through your first year and second year, and you can laugh at them when they're whining about something and say that's nothing. Let me tell you about my first year teaching or my second year teaching. And they always say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I'm a big believer in that. And so hey, my advice is we'll all get through this. We've all probably experienced worse things than having to do a virtual contest. If this is the worst thing you've ever experienced, then I wish I lived your life, because it certainly don't compare with a lot of other things that I can think of. So I hope we'll get through it. I hope we'll all be friends when it's over. But if you need to blow off some steam, feel free to call me. That's why Mr. Billy pays me so much. So I'll be glad to hear it. So otherwise, I hope y'all have a good end of the semester. I know you're getting close to the end of the row. I know you're looking for some time off. I hope you spend it with some family. I hope you stay safe and healthy. So I don't have anything else. So nothing else said. God bless all of you, and I hope to see you in person real soon. So thank y'all.